Welcome to the group chat with Tara Thomas and Amanda Goodman of Faith and Four-Letter Words.
We made it to another Monday. Happy Monday. I'm Tara Thomas.
And I'm Amanda Goodman. Thank you so much for joining us. It is Monday, April 20th. It is supposed to be spring. It does not feel like spring. It's ridiculous. We want to thank so much the Urology Center of Iowa for women's health, for all their, they have women's health services are designed to support the unique urinary and pelvic health needs of women at every stage, from preventative to, major care, comprehensive care. We are so thankful for them. And that's some stuff that you don't really want to talk about. But, if
but
you're
it's so true. So many women have those pelvic floor issues, especially if you've given birth.
Well, I was just going to say too, if you've had several children like myself, and you had one with a very large head, and you have to stop and cross your legs when you sneeze, the Urology Centers of Iowa and their women's health, they can really, really help you. So it's a fantastic team down there. So we're thankful that they are joining us on the group chat, as well as Kanoya Gardens, and they are in Ankeny and Grimes.
This is the time, right? To get out and pick out all your flowers. We usually like to use Mother's Day as the threshold of, hopefully post Mother's Day, you'll be good to get all your flowers and everything planted.
I know. And they do have a beautiful selection. I wish I liked flowers. I'm very much like not a, but I like the symbolism of certain flowers, like the sunflower, and I like the lotus. The lotus grows in mud, and it's like the whole thing. But they have this insane, beautiful collection. They have people you can talk to that will design a special. So get down there and take the trip down if you aren't in that area. Ankeny and Grimes. It's one of my favorite parts of Iowa. So new, fresh.
Yeah, just looking at their online photos, they have an incredible selection, and I don't enjoy maintaining the pots, but I enjoy picking out and organizing and doing the design of all of the pots that we get ever seasonally. And then my husband is the green thumb, and his secret is every week he fertilizes the plants. And so by the end of the summer, the pots are just so overwhelmingly almost overgrown. They get so big. And so it's nice because then you can kind of see the progression. So for me, it's definitely an enjoyment of more the aesthetic side than the maintenance side.
Well, it's also, I was talking to somebody, they say that when you're like planting things and you're like digging in the dirt, it's very good for your mental health, your brain health.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So being with the earth. I do want to talk about a little bit of news that was breaking news. It's national headlines at this point. It's close to home, and it was shots were fired.
Mm-hmm.
There was a shooting at the University of Iowa right along the Penn Mall, which we all know is the very popular spot down near campus. And there were 5 suspects that they kind of have their picture point out there right now. We do know that there are several victims in the hospital. One is in critical condition. A few more are in stable condition right now. I know the one in critical condition is a University of Iowa student. It looks like a fight broke out. And it was interesting. My parents are in town this weekend, and I just kind of looked at my dad because, my dad was showing my oldest and her boyfriend about, the videos and stuff. And my dad nailed it. My dad has always said, nothing good happens after midnight, right? Like nothing good ever happens after midnight. Or my dad would tell me, my dad would never let me stay until the bars close at 2:00. Because he would say nothing good happens after 2 either. He's like, you're going to get home before the bars close. That final hour when the bars are open, he's like, that's where all the trouble is. That's when all the trouble is going to happen, because everyone's been drinking all night and they're all
ready to fight sometimes.
But thinking about and praying for those victims, their families, I cannot imagine getting that phone call.
No, just awful. And if you've seen on social media, it's saturated with clips of people that were capturing the fight, the running, all the things that ensued. And it's always scary, especially for those of you who have young children that are, attending or are part of it. It's like immediately you feel that tightness in your chest.
And it's crazy because it can, and it has happened anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, oh, I don't want to go here because it's us. It can happen everywhere because I'm sorry, I'm going to say, people are afraid to get their butt kicked, so they're going to grab a gun, right? You know what I'm saying? Let's just grab a gun. Let's just solve this and take some shots fired. So it was very startling to hear that, just knowing that that's a very highly trafficked place on the weekends for college kids. Right. And, and then especially when it's a little closer to home, you're like, really? Okay. Right.
Yeah, so we definitely are thinking of everybody involved. And then we also wanted to mention that, as we alluded to, if you've been expecting to have one enjoyable spring weather weekend,
No.
it's been the worst spring that I have recalled in recent years on the weekends. So the last 2 Sundays, I have been outside for a good portion of the day watching spring league baseball. And yesterday the wind was so cold and so awful. It was miserable. So sad for anybody who planned any outdoor events over the last 2 weekends. The weather has just been abysmal.
Well, we had prom this weekend, so it was really sad. It was pretty warm this weekend, and then you have, we had a lot of severe weather, which, by the way, Reed Timmer, the extreme meteorologist, said this is going to be a tornado season for the record books.
Oh, wow.
And so get ready, apparently. But we had prom was on Saturday, and of course, it was like 48 degrees. It was like super, super cold. So that
you
was
just did indoor photos.
They did. We went down to UNI with the group, and it was fantastic. It was so much fun. And I love watching. I could sit there and just watch prom gowns and tuxes. And
Yes.
I love, I think my favorite thing was 2 guys went as Blues Brothers, which I love. That's the one
funny.
thing. The
That's
one thing that I
cool.
love the most is that I haven't seen before is if somebody doesn't have a date or they choose not to go with a date, but they would prefer to go with friends. People are going with friends. And I absolutely love that. We need to make that like more common. And I mean, and then we do the walkthroughs. That's what I love about the small schools. And like, I've never seen it until I moved to Iowa, where they do like the walkthrough for the prom, where everybody gathers in the auditorium and you see everybody walk in.
But how do they do that if you don't have a date? Do they still
No, they
do
go
the walk?
Yeah,
through? Oh,
yeah.
good.
Some
Okay.
kids chose not to participate in that if they chose not to have a date or go with a date. Some kids just even if you do have a date, you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it. But a lot of people who just went with their friends, they went up and it was like a whole thing. And I loved it because for me it's like the confidence level for young kids to get up in front of hundreds of people and just
Great.
You know what I mean? Like, so for me, that was fun. So it was it was a nice weekend. And I did the wait up, I'm like, let me wait up to like talk. Cause then, people came back to our house to hang out in the post prom. And then I realized I'm old. I don't want to wait up.
I can't believe you did the wait up.
I don't want to wait up. Like, I don't but
gosh.
truth be told, like I fell asleep and set my alarm to wake back up because I can't do it. And I mean, I looked at my dad like the next day and I said, how did you wait up all those years? And he's like, well, I was a lot younger than you.
Well, right.
They were a lot
That's
younger.
true.
So
That's
I can't do
funny.
it.
And your parents are visiting. So
My
that
parents-
was nice.
It was a very big weekend, right? So we had the prom and then we had the youngest, Aria, our final sacrament of First Holy Communion. So Aria got to, First Communion, and then Nico's birthday was yesterday. So it was a very big weekend. So my parents are in town, but I did laugh because if you are Catholic and you receive Holy Communion, there are, you go up and this is your hand. Even if you're left-handed, right? You have right here. So Aria knew it and she was prepared. She had been practicing. But when we practice so much and then the moment comes and you get nervous. So
yes.
So Hector and I, you have to stand behind them when they receive it for the first time. So Father Greg goes like this. He has the host right here. And I see my baby girl's hand. She goes to grab it. And Father Greg he smiled, which I appreciate it. And she was like, oh, and then she remembered. But we were laughing about it. And then I asked her,
cute.
I said, how was the wine? She's like, I didn't really like it, Mom. Tastes like bad apple juice. Bad apple juice. I was like, good, So it was a good time. It was
So
nice.
if you want to see some of the beautiful photos of Gia's dress and Aria's outfit that was so cute with the veil for her communion, go to faithandfourletterwords.com. Amanda posted some photos of the big events.
The
over
big events.
Weekend.
And it was I love Gia's dress. And I think
It's beautiful.
Well, my husband stroked out. Hector, and I had to prepare. So last year my daughter did like a very whimsical, like flowy dress. And this year she picked a dress. I think she was like, I'm 18. I'm picking the, and it was it showed more skin this year. But I still thought it was done. I still thought it still looked elegant for some reason.
Did.
It was like an
very
elegant
nice.
gold.
And that's very trendy right now. The dresses with like the cutouts.
And, so it was just very funny because she came up the stairs and I had warned him a couple weeks ago. I'm like, just be prepared, because this is his baby. So he was bending down, picking up the trash, and he does this face, and he just sees her, and he just like looks over. He's like, and I'm like, smile, like say something, smile. So that was no, but I mean, she
That's
looked,
funny.
yeah, she looked
Yeah,
beautiful.
she did. She was stunning. My son had a great weekend with my nephew. My nephew's a sophomore in high school in Peoria, my hometown. He's on a 7-on-7 football team. And so he and two of his teammates came and stayed with us because they actually had a tournament at the Unidome at
Oh, that's
UNI.
great.
So my mom and my sister and all of us had a lot of fun. And the one thing that is you forget, right, now that my mom is 81, there are stairs everywhere. So
Oh,
whenever
yeah.
you go to these games or arenas, I mean, it is tough, you
Yeah.
know. And then I had a knee scope last fall. So even though I'm not in any pain, I'm taking stairs pretty easily too. So it was so funny because between my mom, my sister, and I, we were like slowly but surely making our way to the stands. But I will say that I had not been in there since they redid a bunch of the seating.
Oh, yes.
And so the most hilarious thing is now the seats are way wider.
Yeah.
And so I just said to my mom, I said, well, there's a lot of bigger people, you know, that will appreciate this. And she goes, yeah, she's like, it's true. There's like bigger people everywhere. And so we all know this because if you get on a plane, it's so confining on a plane.
Well,
and so then when you get to a stadium, especially like a Wrigley, if you go to Wrigley Field, that they have the original seats from like decades ago. And it is, you were like on the lap of the people next to you. So it is refreshing.
Because we were so much tinier?
Yes,
Or
people
yeah.
were smaller. So it is nice now at UNI that they have wider seats for a little bit more, you know, wiggle room. So I appreciated that.
Isn't that crazy though? That like that we have. I mean, no,
it's insane when you think about.
But I look back at pictures because, I mean, like my family was never tiny. I mean, I want to show you this picture. I brought it. I'll post it later. But I think about like my great grandfather's nickname was Jumbo.
Oh my god!
Because he was a meaty man. So
Jumbo.
This is like I took this picture for a friend of mine, but like this is my family in like Palermo. Like they're straight out of Central Casting. But I'm sitting there thinking like I don't think they would have ever fit in like the tiny seats in Wrigley because those are small seats.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have to sit like this. Like
if you look at the doorways too of the homes that were built in like the 1800s or the early 1900s, it's so small. I mean, the openings of doorways and they're so short. And so if you've ever been to Boston and you do like the Freedom Trail, when you go into some of those doors, like where Paul Revere and the Redcoats and other people were a part of it, you know,
tiny.
I mean, I have to almost duck to get under the door frame.
Keebler would have,
isn't that crazy?
Keebler would have fit real well in, you know, the old
It's also weird, and we were just talking about this, and those of you who have children and grandchildren will appreciate this. So when I was in 6th grade, I was 5'6", and then by the time I was in 8th grade at 5'9", I was towering over so many of my classmates that I even had, my mom reminded me, I had a friend, Ian, we slow danced at my 6th grade birthday party at Leonardo's Pizza. And he stood on a chair because I was like a foot taller than him.
Right.
Now, if you're 5'6" in 6th grade, that's like for especially some of the girls, that's like average. And then if you're 5'9" in 8th grade, you're not a giant because so many of the kids get so much taller more quickly. So, I mean, that's the thing that's so crazy is back in the day, that was big.
Well, my mother-in-law is a pediatric surgeon in Bolivia and still working into her 70s, which is crazy to me. So she was always she's always talking about, especially in the United States, like the diet is the reason. And she said that kids are going through puberty or it's all about the diet. It's kind of like,
I believe that.
It was our daughters, you know, girls are starting their menstrual cycles very, very young because of a poor diet. So I was kind of like, I'm like, oh God, you know what I mean? So she's like, you have to get your kids eating better. And that's what it is. We were all these kids are going through puberty much earlier because
it's crazy
because of what
I believe that.
And I'm like, listen, I can't have my middle daughter hit those hormones quickly. One of us is not going to survive in that. One of us is not going to survive with, like, we are not going to survive the house. Like Hector looks at me. He's like, I mean, it is literally when he argues with her, it is like two me. 2 of me. So I mean, I can't.
Now, I told you the classic fourth grade story where my friend's older sister also went to our school because it was fourth through eighth grade. And I had heard from Susanna that the older girls would put their pads up on the shelf in the bathroom at school. So we went in there and took the pads
You took
down
them
and
off.
we wore the pads around and on the playground in fourth grade just to be like, yeah, we're cool. We're wearing pads. Long before we had our periods.
Long before you realize it's a
But
lifetime sentence.
Well, right. And it's so funny because you thought you were cool when you were wearing pads when you
Oh
were
my
in fourth
God.
grade. When meanwhile, it's like once it does hit, you're like, I don't want to wear these pads.
Absolutely horrible because nobody, like, I went to Catholic school, so there was no talking to you about what's really going to happen. I mean, we talked about like kind of like the nuts and bolts of things, but they really towed the line on what they could talk to you. And it was like the gym teacher who was giving us the lesson plan. So the day it happened for me, I remember I was eating sunflower seeds all day and I had my stomach hurt. I'm like, why is these sunflower seeds? And then I thought the sunflower seeds like were murdering my, so it was horrible. Horrible. It was the day of my sister's high school graduation and nobody had time for me. So my sister had to give me, I told you, like she gave me one of my mom's grandma pads and like literally it was like it was horrible. It was like to your chin and to the back of your neck, the nape of your neck, that pad. Like I'm like, and I'm 13.
Oh my gosh.
And my sister's
so
like-
true.
and
It's like,
And this is why you have to talk to your kids and you have to have very real conversations because then they're scared. And so I'm like, wait, I have to, like, it came in a square and then I unrolled it and it was like,
well,
where am I
imagine our
supposed to
moms.
put
They had
this?
those like harnesses, those belts where
Oh.
the pads would attach to the belts.
give me that. I would have loved that because I'm like, what am I
Oh my
supposed to do with
gosh.
this? Like, it was like, am I supposed to wrap this around a wound? Like, it was awful. So talk to your children. It's only embarrassing you. Like, it's really
Yeah,
That's what it
true.
is.
Our friend Monique said, beautiful photos you posted. Your daughter was stunning in her beautiful dress.
Oh, thank you so much.
yeah. Where did
Thank
you get the dress, by the way?
We
I have to
actually
ask you that.
this is a little. We got it online.
Okay.
Because we went to a boutique out of town and these beautiful, beautiful gowns. But I am not that one. I'm not spending $700 on a prom
Mhm.
gown. I'm not. So
Yeah, it's crazy, but that's how much a lot of
Yeah.
them cost.
So she tried it on. She knew the style that she wanted. And then so we found it online. And it
That's
was
great.
like a third of the cost. It was a little different than the variation was a little different than we came in that she saw in the store, but it was a beautiful dress. And so and then she'll never wear it again. Right?
Well,
like this is why like,
it's so interesting that you talk about the in-store buying options because those of you over the past few years, especially living where we live in this part of Eastern Iowa, in this part of the state, we've lost so many stores
Yeah.
and department stores, right? And so when you think about how few options there are for in-person stores, that's been one fun thing about our show is through Faith and Four Letter Words and these numerous venues and spaces where we've hosted shows or who've hosted shows for us. It's incredible to see there are a lot of these mom and pop or locally owned boutiques
popping up. Yes.
Yes,
I love that.
and these women many times are the ones, powering the entrepreneurial pursuits. And so we love when we discover these because there are so few large department store options for so many of us. So we did, and that reminds me, we want to give a shout out to Azalea Lane Boutique. She is doing so much with social media. So she always tries on the clothes, the woman
she's
who owns
great.
the boutique, which I love that because then you can actually see how they look on somebody who's not, a 23-year-old model that you're going to see in an advertisement.
Right.
So what I was going to say about the trying on that's so funny is for those of you who missed that experience, I kid you not, Sam's Club over the weekend on Saturday. I went to Sam's Club and Walmart.
Yes.
There were so many people looking at the clothes in Sam's and Walmart because think of how
Sam's Club has some great clothes.
Right. Those two stores still have an abundance of clothes in contrast. So, I mean, it is funny when, 20 years ago, if you would have said now, years from now,
You're going to go in
the hot spots for clothes will be Walmart and Sam's. I mean, isn't that weird?
It is
how it's
weird.
changed?
And first of all, it never makes sense. Like these outdoor spots, that doesn't make sense, especially in the Midwest, anywhere where there's like volatile weather. You're right. Like it's the mall. Like why
You're
are
right. You're right.
We should be having a place where we leave the coat in the car and
Yeah,
you walk inside, and then there's
I agree.
all of the options. Like it's, and I know that in Cedar Falls, Iowa, they're trying to bring back to life the mall there. So
Mhm.
it has new ownership, and they're trying to like entice. And it's a lot of local businesses, which I like. Local mom and pop
Mhm.
places are popping up. But I do. I want the big stores. I want to see the American Eagle in the mall again, and I want to see the Express in the mall again, and I want to go to Lululemon in the mall again. Like I want to leave my car in the car, coat in the
Yeah,
car.
yeah.
I want to go in. I want to get my Auntie Anne's pretzel and my icy, and I want to walk around leisurely. And I want
It's true, and she's right. So many of the trends, especially in the Midwest, with the retail
oh, so
organization,
dumb.
have gone to strip mall. Now, what I've been told, the driver is that it's much cheaper because you're not maintaining a climate controlled indoor space.
Okay.
And so when you think about the air and heat that it takes for an enclosure, it's much cheaper to have a small strip mall or standalone enclosure. But then you're right, you're in and out, and let's just say 75% of the time it's inclement weather because it's either
Yes.
really cold or it's really windy, and you walk out of buckle and your hair,
Yeah. Yeah, it's literally.
and I said that to my husband the other day. I said, people don't understand the struggle. When you have hair like we do, why brush it?
Right.
Because you walk out and you're like, oh, I just stuck my finger in a light socket.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know.
it's so annoying.
And if you have a weave like me, walk out, your tracks are showing. Everything's up. But it's just like, and I'm just tired. Like I don't
I'm
want
with
I don't
you.
want Target to be my go-to. It's kind of like
I'm
think about
with you.
teenagers. When teenagers are out and about and they're hanging out with their friends, you know where they are? They're at Target, they're walking around. And that is sad. Like, no disrespect to Target, like we love it, right? But like we were walking around in the mall. Well, I wasn't allowed to go to the mall with my friends. I wasn't allowed to go to the mall because that's where all the trouble happened. All the trouble happened in the mall.
Your parents definitely put the hammer down on
Oh,
you.
they were always putting the hammer down. I think they thought that if you got pregnant as a teenager, it happened in the mall parking lot. That's what I think.
My gosh, that is so funny. And
think-
also, you were the middle child, and the middle child tends to take the brunt of it because the older one,
Yeah.
In some ways, Kimmy kind of like, she was the one
She
who
was the
they
experimenter.
realized, we're not going to let this second one
Yeah.
pull the wool over
And then
our
the third
eyes.
one, they're like, we're
He's
tired.
a baby.
We're
Yeah,
tired.
yeah.
No, we were just talking about that. We were just talking about that today
It's
because
true.
this weekend with my parents there, because as the second child, I am very in tune with what happens to my middle two kids
Mhm.
because I
Mhm.
know what the oldest does.
My husband went through it too. He's the middle.
See, it's you are in tune, so you don't want behavior. So I will tell my oldest, it's kind of like Charlotte probably too. They like to be the mother hen. They want to be the second mom in the house. So
Big
if
time.
I'm like, I was telling Nick, I'm like, Nika, don't do that. And then Gia starts chirping. And then so when she does it,
Charlotte.
Nico's feelings gets hurt because he just wants like his sister to be like his road dog, right? So she's like getting into it. And so I was watching her this weekend and she was doing this and she had covered her mouth and she was saying things to him under her breath. And that my sister used to do that to me. And my son is he will react like me. He has the temper, like he's going to be like, and so he,
Reacted.
he reacted. And then everyone was like, oh my God. I went, no. I was like, no, homegirl, I saw what you did. Like it's,
Mhm.
so yeah, the second one always
it's
gets in
so
trouble.
funny because my sister-in-law who we were with during Easter, she said that about my husband. She said that her mom especially was harder on him and he was the middle child, and then their younger brother was the baby, and so
Oh.
he got away with everything, but they were very much putting down the clamp on my husband, and he was actually the better of all three of them. He said he was definitely in high school, he was like the least offender. He was the one who was the better behaved kid, but he definitely took the brunt of
Oh, I think
it's weird.
my parents will tell you that they'll say that like, I was like the least, and it's not true. I was actually the better behaved. I was just vocal and direct.
Mhm.
So that the people confuse that with being a troublemaker. My brother, and we were just talking about it this weekend. So my brother, his senior prom, he was going to the prom. He and his girlfriend had broken up, but they were still going to the prom together. So he takes her, they go to the prom. It's like 11:30. The prom's over. He takes her back to the house So she's like, what movie do you want to watch? And he is in the bathroom changing into like street clothes. And he was like, oh, I'm leaving. He was like, I have a date. Drops his prom date off, tells the girl that he has a date, goes and picks up another girl and goes to a party, an all-night party. And then like the next day, where he's telling us this, and my dad's like laughing, giving him high fives. And I'm sitting there like, are we serious right now? Like, are we serious right now? Like, so it's like that behavior never would have flown with me. Like, could you imagine? My dad was like, my dad's like, well, did you see his date? Like, did you see who he was going out with the second date? He's like, and he broke up with that girl. They already broke up. So it was time to move on.
Oh my God.
The amount of allowances that happened from me to my, unheard of.
That is so funny. Okay, Lisa, our friend Lisa Smith, she said, boy, mom here, rent the tux and done.
Yes.
Good morning, beautiful ladies. That is true. However, the interesting thing about tuxedo rentals, they are quite pricey these days. So I think for my sons for prom, which is on May 2nd, I think we paid like $240 to rent the tux. So, I mean, granted, that's still, way cheaper than some of the dresses, the gowns. However, think of like you're paying this money and they don't get to keep any of it. So one thing that's hilarious is my son is doing, which I'm excited about it. I haven't seen it on him yet because he just, picked it out and was measured for it, but they're doing some different colors today, obviously for tuxes. So he's doing a gray.
I like
it's not really light, but it's the dress of the girl that he's going with is pink. And so I think it'll look like a good combo. But the funniest part is my daughter, as we described, our oldest daughters who are the mother hens of their younger brothers, she was saying she thought he should do black for his shoes. And then she was saying, now what belt are you wearing? And he's like, well, the belt probably won't even show when he has his suit coat on. So what's hilarious is we had to make a correction over the weekend because now his date said she thinks he should wear brown shoes. And then I said, that's fine. And so I called and they're going to make a switch, so then.
Does Charlotte know that?
No, I haven't told. We're not telling the older sister because then
that's hard.
You know what she'll say? She's like, Gia, she'll be like, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Like with that tone of judgment.
Yeah. This is what is difficult. This is what's difficult for sisters. It's like sisters and moms. When the girlfriend or wife, when the baby brother starts listening to the girlfriend or
over
the wife
sister.
over the sister.
You're absolutely right.
So like, no,
right.
Like, I mean, my brother would tell you now that him getting a second date was quite difficult because I was the hater in the house. Like I was sitting in the house and I was like girls were afraid to come in. I mean, because I was very much like just stone faced.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be a difficult thing. I mean,
it's true. And Charlotte
I even just got upset for Charlotte.
Charlotte even said, I'm glad I'm not there to go through all of this. So she's like, trying to weigh in from afar. Whereas same with Gia, she will graduate. And then when she comes home, she's going to be like questioning, Nico's moves.
So there is this, Gia has this friend. I'm not going to say this too publicly, but there's this girl and she's just stunning. And she has a smile that lights up the whole, I mean, she is just this personality and she's this beautiful girl. She's all the things, right? So Hector and I come home from like the prom walkthrough and stuff. And I say and she's a couple of years older than Nico. And I say her name in front of Nico and I was like, she's beautiful. And Nico's like, yeah, she really is. And I was like, shoot your shot, bud. Like shoot your shot. So the next day,
Gia would be horrified.
So the next day I said, we were talking about that young lady in front of Nico again. And Gia, like her head, she's like, what? And I said, yeah, I told Nico that he should shut, and she was like, absolutely not. And I said, well, listen, honey, you're going to be going to college. I said, one of these days, because what's going to happen is one of these days, she's going to be off and she's going to get wind that her brother is dating somebody that she knows.
Yes. And may only approve of if they're not dating his, her brother.
Because
they'll have a problem with him.
He's changed. Like Nico is slowly turning into like a young man,
yes,
right? So he's starting to grow. He was late in puberty. Like, so he's getting taller. Like for his birthday, we got him what he wanted. He wanted a weight bench with a bunch of weight, like 900 pounds worth of weights, right? So I'm sure Dave will be pretty proud of him, right?
Yeah, that's so great.
So like he already has a plan and like you can just tell. So she's gonna leave her brother. She's gonna come home to a very different little brother.
Absolutely, she's gonna leave.
She's not ready.
Boy, and she'll
come back
home
a man.
And he's a man. So what's really funny is when you think about how much our daughters are, the second moms, it's actually crazy that we both have kids in the same distance apart in
Yeah.
school as far as in
Crazy.
high
Yeah.
school.
Oh, yeah.
So like what is funny that Charlotte admitted, and this was really cute for me to hear, when they were together over Easter, Charlotte said, isn't it weird that the last summer that she was home, like that senior year in summer, she and Thomas sometimes were hanging out with the same kids because Thomas had friends that were a year older. And then Charlotte had friends that were like 1 or 2 years younger sometimes. So, I mean, I thought that was neat that she
That's
admitted
so cool.
that it was like at one point in their lives, they did have
I love that.
some shared experiences.
I love that.
But Charlotte is the one who's always saying, if I say, well, Thomas went out with these people, or then she'll say, well, I wouldn't let him do that.
Oh.
Like
that's
she's
true.
acting like
Oh.
I'm supposed to police him
Yeah.
more than she ever got policed, right?
That's how
Really?
they are. Well, the one thing that's interesting is, so Nico's freshman, Gia's a senior. So they have, in high school, you share similar classes, or you're in with upper class, you're mixed, you're intermingling. And so we were talking about something at the house, and Nico's just sitting there and he's eating. He's like, that's not her friend. And I was like, what? He's
Oh,
like,
wow.
that's not her friend. And I was like, okay. And he was like, I mean, like knowing that he's watching, like he is fiercely protective.
That's neat.
And so that was what was really, I mean, and it was cool when he was eating his dinner when Gia came up the stairs to get ready to leave for prom. And he's just eating. He looks up and he's like, a spoon in his mouth. He's like, you look beautiful. And just like,
That's
and
sweet.
I was like,
that's
oh my,
so
and I'm
sweet.
like, did you hear what your brother said to you? And she's like, yes, I heard what my brother, because, it's my boy.
Okay, I saw Gia's TikTok, which was so cute with her dress, and they're on her, and that reminded me of something that we have to share with you guys because it is hilarious. On her TikTok account is the TikTok of you that went viral where you were like celebrating something Nico did in contrast. So it's the
Oh, yeah.
premise of it is like, I could cure cancer, and her mom would be like, whatever. And then Nico got himself up and out the door for school one day. And there's like this jubilation, this celebratory response. And anyone who has an older sister or anyone who has like us, the older daughter and the younger son will relate because it's so true. It's like we are so impressed when our sons do something that the girls are probably we take it for granted they're going to do it anyway.
Yeah, I think I can't explain it, but like when you have a daughter and then you see yourself in your daughter, you're like, okay, game recognized game. I have these expectations for you. You're going to hit these expectations, yada, yada, yada. So when boys do it, because boys think differently than girls, and you're just like, okay, like you're so good.
It's hilarious. And I was laughing so hard because I found it because I was like, I need to look at that TikTok again with you. And then I was dying because I have to show it to Dave because it's just, we don't even know that we're doing it, but we can't help it. Whatever the boy does, you're just like, yay, you finally, got dressed on your own without us picking out.
Literally.
Or
I know.
pack. Charlotte will say to me, like, how is he going to even learn? Like, you pack his clothes, you pack his suitcase. Like and I'm like, and isn't it sad that we're doing that to save us the stress of like getting to the destination and then they don't have any clean underwear.
It's really not. It's really because we know them and we know that
because
they're
we
inept.
know how scatterbrained,
Right.
Okay, a couple of comments I had to share. Brooke said, you guys are hilarious. P.S. off subject, but I want to know, Amanda, are you on the edge of your seat waiting to see if the girl on Unexpected that you got me into watching, LOL, is pregnant again?
Is it? It's tonight, right? Does it show? I think the show is tonight. Yes, I'm on the edge of my seat. And now, have you watched the reels with this family? With the mom's name is Fallon, and now the reels. And now they're trying to come back, and they're like, oh, it's just a fake show. It's not real. Yeah.
Wow.
If that girl is pregnant again, I will lose my mind. I will I will lose my mind.
You know what is sick? There's a part of the family who probably wants her to be pregnant so they can extend the show.
They want more money. Yeah, it's just
so. Yeah. Monique said, "I don't like strip malls. It is so hard to park because now you have all those stores outside. Remember Tara, the Woodfield Mall in Schaumburg? How awesome it was. Is it still there or?" or they closed. I think a lot of those malls in the Chicago suburbs are still very much going. Oak Brook was a favorite for us. And I mean, the thing that's so true, like Monique described, not only are those parking lots more congested, anyone who's been to these, newer strip malls will attest, the parking spaces are so narrow.
Oh.
My daughter twice, her car was hit in the narrow spaces because one of the times it was a kid, another kid was backing out and like scraped the side of her car. And then another time, the door of my husband's truck flew open, and right as he was saying, grab the door, the wind caught it and ripped it out of my hand. And we knocked a person's mirror off in one of these parking lots. And then I had to go into the store, and they had to make an all-store announcement.
Good for you,
the driver of such and such, please.
Well,
and then it
you.
was so sad when they walked up for me to have to say to them, I'm so sorry. The wind caught the door of my husband's truck and ripped her mirror off. And it was a younger person.
But they probably appreciate it.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Wow, this is,
yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, parking lots are not made for like the big cars of today.
No.
But this is the thing. If we would go back to mall parking, we could learn a lot about society again. We could learn patience. Yes. Because remember when we would stalk Christmas shopping, and you'd see someone coming out of the mall, and then you just drive around following them so you could get their parking spot. I mean, it's just, I was leaving the Village Inn yesterday because we did the Village Inn after First Communion because it's the best
You
food.
said the Village Inn, like the Facebook.
The Facebook.
It's just Village Inn.
Is it just Village Inn? It's just Village Inn?
Yeah, it was like the Bishop's Buffet.
The Dairy Queen.
Awesome.
It's very Texas of me to say that, though, because they say like the Dairy
it.
Queen. So we were at Village Inn. And we were all loading in the car, and there's 8 of us, and we're getting in the car. And there was somebody waiting. It was, but there was somebody waiting for my parking spot. And when I see that, I'm just letting you know, I'm a bet that the PA girl of me will come out, because then I'm like, all right, bet I'm gonna make you wait now. Because it was like they were sitting there.
Like the stress of them waiting.
Well, they were like,
that's hurry and get in the car. Get in the car. Get in the car.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna hurry.
Right.
There are 17 other spots. Like, I'm sorry that we have we have this coveted spot, and they weren't like, had it been an elderly couple or somebody that had, needed to park closer, they were not. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was, and I was mad, and someone, and Hector was like, hurry up, someone's waiting for my space. And I was like, well, I'm about to camp out, so because don't rush me. Let me get in the car.
Okay, so speaking of drivers and being on the road, 2 interesting contrasts. When we were in Washington State, so going between Seattle and Yakima over the Cascade Mountain Range for Easter, and then as a contrast, the last 2 weeks driving across, the interstate here for travel sports. One thing that we do not do well in Iowa, and I could probably extend that to the whole Midwest, in contrast to the Northwest, if you're in the passing lane in the Northwest and someone comes up behind you, people instantly get over. Here, and this has happened to me the last 2 weekends, so many people, they drive permanently at a slower pace in the left lane, and they even will be on cruise. And my husband, who was a driver's ed teacher, says this, and he's spot on this. The one thing about cruise, when you're on cruise, and no one really understands this, common courtesy is you don't put your cruise on the exact same speed as the person in the right lane, because then if you come up alongside them and you travel for miles alongside them, you're actually breaking a common courtesy in driver's ed if you're driving in their blind spot. So you either need to slow down and get behind them, or you need to pass. And a lot of people don't do this here in the Midwest. They will drive at the same speed. And then when you are going at a faster speed, when you come up behind them, they don't even recognize, oh, you know what? This person wants to pass, so I need to speed up or I need to slow down. But the left lane is in driver's ed rules. It's a passing lane. It's not a lane where you maintain a slower speed.
Listen, I don't care if I'm in the Midwest, and I've been here for quite some time now. You will hear my horn. If you do that, you will hear my horn. Like, I will be, it's like I've been
You're definitely a heavy horn honker, which I knew but that's innate to where you grew up.
Yeah.
Right.
And I will be on the phone with Tara, and she's just like, how you doing? I will say, I had a great time at church. Get out of the left lane, you have like, literally, that's me. Like, I will blow on the horn. I am also, this is horrible. I mean, I don't think it's horrible, but I know people here think it's horrible. I need you to pay attention at the light.
Well,
I need you to get off your phone. I need you to pay attention to the light, because when the light goes green,
and it won't.
If you are not
now 'cause
accelerating-
everybody's on their phones.
no. If you, especially if it's a left turning lane,
And they go so fast.
They go so
that
fast.
just happened to me.
Yeah.
Someone didn't go. And we sat
Mm-mm.
there and
Mm-mm.
it turned to yellow. And then by the time it turned to yellow, that's when the person realized it was green
Listen,
and only one car made
yeah,
it through.
no.
Yeah.
If you don't go, I'm gonna lay on that horn like I am Large Marge from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I am laying on the horn.
That is such a great reference.
Thank you.
She was driving the 18-wheeler.
The 18, if you don't tell them Large Marge sent you.
Oh my gosh.
But my kids are like, they get embarrassed because they're,
Right.
you know, these
Well,
are
it's
now Midwest kids.
nice
They're
here,
Midwest
you
kids,
know.
and they're like, oh my god, Mom. Like they totally
Okay,
know.
I'm glad that you brought that up though, because another thing that people have forgotten, let's take you back to your driver's ed training. In the Midwest, for some reason, and this does not happen in other parts of the country, maybe in the South, but in the Midwest, we have this phobia when it is a protected left turn, okay, or when it's not a protected left turn, meaning that when you pull out, you have to yield to the oncoming
Okay.
traffic before you can turn left, but you have the green. Get out there. Get out there. You can go all the way out to the middle of the intersection to wait. So many people
Get out
are
there.
so tenant, you know, they just
Yeah.
no, I
Move
don't
up,
want
yeah.
to go. And then
I'm
and then
getting anxiety
literally
thinking
their
about it.
bumper is
Yeah.
1 foot out.
Yeah.
And then it goes to yellow. And then they're like, oh, and
Yeah.
they like back up. And it's like, no, go. I mean,
Right.
so that is something that my husband will
I
point
agree.
out is that in the Midwest, because he was a driver's ed teacher for like 20 years in the Northwest. And one thing they always did, you get out there, because if you, like she described, if you don't get out there, so few cars are going to be able to go that by the time it turns yellow, if you're already out there, you do have enough time then to finish your turn.
Right.
And so people
Yeah.
are so hesitant to do that because I think they're afraid if at many intersections, if you wait for it to be clear, you'll never get to turn.
No, you got to show some initiative. It's
Yeah.
kind of like the roundabouts. I scream, I'm like, you have the right of way. Like where are we supposed to go? Like
Everyone's braking in those roundabouts, and you don't have to if you are the one entering and have the right of way. You
no,
don't have to brake.
you know, like my family, like, Mom, you have like such road rage. Is it road rage or am I right? Like, is it road rage or just like, I just am not, I mean, it's very, I mean, I will be listening to Father Mike in my car and I am
Honking at
I am
somebody.
honking and MFing somebody. Like,
At least your intentions are good. Alice said, "Happy frosty morning, kids." Here from Happy frosty morning, kids. Yes, we agree. Here from Northeast Iowa. Your mom, Tara, surely doesn't look like she's 81, still young at heart and enjoying life. Amanda, your daughter looked amazing in her prom photo.
Oh, thank
All
you.
daughters must take after their mothers. I like your bracelet, Tara. Very pretty. MRI today. Wish me luck.
Oh.
Have a great day, you two and everyone else on this
Sending you
chat. Do
prayers.
something that makes you happy. Have to tune in later to finish watching. We hope that your MRI goes
Yeah.
well, Alice, and that you get, good news. Or if it's in the case of a lot of us, when we're getting an MRI, we may need, medical intervention.
Right.
And so we hope you get that handled. I'm so glad she noticed my bracelet. This is really special to me. I had a coworker who is a new coworker. I've only known her for about the past month or so, and she and I have gotten to know each other, and she's a person of faith, as am I. So we've talked about our faith, and she made this bracelet for me, and it says "forgiven" on it.
That's so
And
nice.
she said she wanted to gift me this bracelet because she knows I've been going through a lot. And so, I mean, I just can't tell you how much those of you who extend those little good deeds and kindnesses to people, how much that means
It
when
does.
people are going through tribulation. And so so thank you, Veronica, for this bracelet.
That is super,
really
super
cool. Okay, we need to mention Marengo.
Marengo is this week. We are going to the Fireside Winery on Wednesday, and it's
Everyone's saying it's a really great
it's a
space.
beautiful venue, and it's not too far from Iowa City. So if you were in the Iowa City area, now's your time. I know a lot of people had said, "When are you coming back? When are you coming back?" Because we did have that Saturday show at the rooftop bar that overlooks Kinnick Stadium, which was amazing. But we're itching because it's been a couple weeks.
Mhm.
We kind of do a hiatus when it gets super busy and like life gets busy, but it's been 2 weeks. So our show is this Wednesday in Marengo at the Fireside Winery. So you need a night out. We're having a lot of new content. We keep some of the meat and potatoes of the show, the message, because that's really important to us. But then we have a lot of new stuff.
That's right.
I'm talking a lot about this week about, you know, Mean Girl stuff and how Mean Girls really, they don't evolve, but they really morph into adult, you know,
Mean
and
Girls.
it's
I
kind
agree
of,
with that.
and I think it's changing the narrative and changing the, I am not a take the high road, you know, don't worry about it. It gets better. You know what I mean? I'm very much a parent that's like, let them know, you know what I mean? Like, because I want my kids to, they have to get ready for adulthood. They have to get ready for like the next phase of life. And, you know, and this is what's really important. And I want parents to talk to, like, moms and dads to talk to their kids about what's happening in their world, because those things you will never forget. I was talking to my biggest thing is you got to find people, and you're like this for me, who is going to defend you when you're not in the room.
Mhm.
That's the most important thing to look for in a friend. Point blank period, whether you're 8 or 80. And I was telling my daughter over the weekend, I remember that I had a best friend since birth. And she, you know, kind of like you want to get closer to the mean girls sometimes, so you stay safe. And I will never forget, we were at basketball practice. I was good friends with everybody in high school, and we had this big group. But there's sometimes friction. You can't have a big group because the big groups are always talking crap about each other.
Sure.
Right. And I will never, this is a very long story short, I will remember something came out. There was like a party or a sleepover, and someone said, don't forget to invite Goodman. And the one girl who I was arguing with at the time rolled her eyes, and my best friend laughed hysterically. And I remember that moment.
Isn't that crazy?
I
how
remember that moment,
sticks
and I
with
was
you?
16. That was so long ago, more than 30 years ago. And I remember that moment because I was like, and I didn't know at that time that it was, she wasn't defending me when I wasn't in the room. We didn't really know that concept. But I remember that moment because I was so surprised by it. I'm like,
Mhm.
why is she laughing
Because
when they were?
you felt you had a very close and trusting relationship with her, so much so that
Right.
you didn't think that she would be two-faced like that.
Right.
And that is always tough. And all of our kids, even boys, have been through it, but they react and respond a lot differently
Yes.
than the girls. And it's true, we just have that emotional attachment to people and relationships. And I think it's so true what you said about the default on the after school special was always the mom or the coach or the dad saying, it gets better. What we are here to remind everybody is that's really a cop out to say that, because what we know is these adult behaviors are very similar
Right.
to what was petty in high school.
Right.
So, I mean, to say it gets better, no, you're just going to be more mature about how you respond
That's
to it.
exactly right.
But it doesn't
It's
get better. You're going to face the same stuff when you're an adult. I mean, we've lost friends that we thought very much long time not acquaintances, but long time committed friendships, in that we thought that those people would be in our lives for years to come. And we've lost some of those people.
You know, I think because what happens is what you learn, you start seeing it again then as a parent. Like, if you're like, here's the thing, do my friends have my back when I'm not in the room? But more importantly, do you have my kids' backs when they're not in the room? If you see something happening, an injustice, and so sometimes you'll realize, wow, like, okay, like, people, I would never do that, but you do. Got it.
And
Noted.
people, it's what you said. People don't want, if your kid is the one that everybody's turned on or is being talked about, there will be people that say that is sad, but then they're like, well, I hope that doesn't happen to my kid.
As long as it's not happening to
Yeah,
mine.
so I'm going to make sure that
long
I
as it's
tell
not
you
happening to
still
mine.
be nice, even though those people are being mean to her, you still be nice to them because they don't have a problem with you,
Right.
only her. And it's
Right.
like, but aren't you friends with her, right? So I
Right.
mean, what we always used to say about the work environment is, if it's happening to him or her at work, if they're in the crosshairs, you very much could find yourself sometime also being the target. And a lot of people convince themselves otherwise. Well, no,
It's
because
gonna
I'm a
happen.
really responsible employee, because I do all the right things. Believe me, we tried to do all the right things. And at some point in all of our lives, we've been the focus of the abuse.
Right.
Or in many cases, you could have, like I've experienced, your job being eliminated where you've done nothing but show up, be respectful, responsive, respectable, all the things. And sometimes it's just completely out of your control. And so you should never think, oh, that won't happen to me.
Yeah, it's
'cause
definitely
it's
going to happen.
It's a silly attitude.
Everything is returned. And, the one thing is I teach my kids, and it's the same thing I think that adults need to understand. You have to take a stand. You have to take a stand in someone. When you hear people say, I don't want to get involved, I don't want to do this. Well, you just did take a side. I don't want to take sides. You did. Neutrality is like, you're taking a stand. You can't you can't sit by no matter what it is. If it's someone's being mistreated, if someone's being left out, if someone's doing something, when you don't take a stand and say, you know what, this isn't okay. This is not okay. You are taking a stand, because you're not saying anything is allowing bad behavior to continue.
Right.
And so that's what it is for me. Like and I'm just like, so when I have watched, whether it's people stay silent when I'm mistreated, or when my husband's mistreated, or when my kids are mistreated, I just sit now. The only difference is now I watch, I go, okay. And then I remove the chair from the table, and I remove the invite from my house. Like, now we're done.
And it's such a good point, because if you think about international relations, the cliche of Switzerland being a neutral country, the problem with that is then in many respects in foreign relations, Switzerland then is taken advantage of.
Sure.
And they're taken advantage of, and they don't have a voice because they don't have any power. So there is something to be said for people that are asserting themselves, make it clear where their line in the sand is extended. And I think that that's something that isn't a bad thing.
When anybody's being mistreated, when it's just, when you stand by and watch it, or you stand by and you're letting bad behavior continue, no matter what it is in your personal, your professional life,
You're an accomplice.
You are an accomplice. And I'm waiting, because that is going to return to you. That is going to return to you. I will not have a sympathy. I will not like there was this quote, and I saw, because it was, when someone said, I will never let it do it to you. But if you've been hurt by people so badly to your core, it's kind of like, there's a quote that says, when it comes time to hit him with the hammer, I hope you hammer down like hard. You know what I mean? Because nobody came to rescue you. Like, no one, when I have been at my lowest, I remember who was there. When my kids have been at their lowest, I know who was there. And then we know who caused it.
Absolutely.
So will I have sympathy when the karma comes back around for people who hurt me? No. And I don't feel sorry for that anymore. No, because it's not only like it was intentional hurt. When there's intentional hurt, then whatever energy you get when that's returned to you, that's the universe. That's God saying, okay, do as you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and it is hard, because we all have that feeling of like, that it's not fair, right? That life isn't fair. And that is like the headline of the day for the kids heading out into the real world. It's not fair. And we've tried to give you all a trophy. We've tried to put you in bubble wrap, but the fact is you're still going to be thrust into a lot of very tough adult situations. Right. And I mean, that's why we have ill prepared some of these younger people for that smack in the face that's going to hit them, because that's reality.
Oh, it's the reality is awful. I see a comment from Shali. I want to go back to it. Speaking of dresses, where does a middle-aged 42-year-old get a formal dress for a wedding these days, asking for a friend? LOL. Listen, I'm telling you right now, go to Rent the Runway. Go to Rent the Runway. They are not sponsoring. They could sponsor this show. Go to Rent the Runway. They have dresses. They have gowns. For every occasion, they'll give you a time. And I've rented gowns for events that I was emceeing, because you're never going to wear it again. And it's like all these high-end designer gowns. They give you like several days you can rent it for. You wear it, you send it back, and that's it. Rent the Runway is a great place for women who are older. It's for all ages, but they have like these elegant gowns that no one will have around the area in which you're wearing. It's very New York fashion. Trust me, you'll love it.
And I would say if you're going in person, then unfortunately you have to drive from a lot of places in Eastern Iowa. You have to drive to get to the department stores, the Von Mars, the Dillards, which they have that in Cedar Falls. They have quite a few gowns, but not,
there is no, like, it's interesting. And
so
she mentions being 42, which you're a young pup there, Shali. But it's very interesting, because you either have the dresses like the ones that teenagers are wearing to the prom, or then you have grandma of the
really
bride.
matronly.
Yeah.
That's right.
Like
That's
there's
so
nothing
true.
in, like I'm not wearing
That's so
anything
true.
with my sides cut out, but then I'm not wearing anything with like, you know, the shoulder pads that come out with the and like down to the, you know, down to the ankle. Like give me something elegant that what
It's so true. There's
even
not
for-
a lot of in between.
look
I
for look at the
agree.
clothes. Like you're either getting a crop top or a muumuu. Like there's no in between. Like what are we doing?
A caftan or a bodycon.
Although let's bring the caftans. Let's
if
dress
you're-
like Rachel
well,
Zoe.
But here's the thing about Rachel Zoe. For those of you who've seen Real Housewives of Beverly Hills or seen her in fit pictures, part of the reason everything is a caftan in her is because she
She's so
is
tiny.
so tiny. I mean, she is painfully thin.
She's
and
always
I
like
think
this.
she's really attractive, but it's
Bananas.
almost like, yeah.
It is.
She says bananas all the time. I know. And
Bananas.
now somebody said bananas. Was that you? Somebody was saying that to me the other day, and I was laughing because I'm like, where have I heard that?
I think
And
I was
thank you.
saying. I think it
Rachel
was
Zoe.
probably me because I'm like she's always like it's like bananas. Like,
She does say that. Okay, Lori said that irritates me too about
The
back to
driving.
drivers. If I'm passing someone, I speed up, and when I'm ahead far enough, I go back to the right. Also, if you're along a semi, you could be in their blind spot. So kick it in gear. That is so funny that she said that, because I always say that if I'm coming up alongside a semi and there's a slow moving car theoretically on cruise control in front of me, I'm like, kick it into gear.
Oh,
kick it into gear,
yeah.
you know, because you want to not be on the road. We forget we are a hindrance and an obstacle to really what has become the purpose for interstates in our country, and that is interstate commerce. So all the trucks on the road, that's why we can get Amazon delivered overnight, because they're going to warehouses. That's why, you know, our shelves at the grocery stores are hopefully stocked, but they're not always stocked now because everyone's doing online shopping. And when you go to get your item, you know, 10 employees ahead of you have already taken the last loaf of bread because Amanda's going to come up later and pick hers up when you're there in person.
Yeah.
Like that's what,
Move.
you know, that's the way it's
Move.
going. So I just think we are forgetting that there are so many hazards on the road that you don't want to contribute to the stress of all these over the road hauling, you know, truckers who have deadline. They have deadlines. And so, yeah, it is annoying that I-80 is the Autobahn for truckers, but it really is. I mean, and you
But
have
I give
to,
truckers the credit because they're normally in the right lane. They're in like the right lane.
But
Like
then
they just
when
do
they
their
pass, it never fails. There's like
two trucks.
Yes.
The two truck thing. And then know what I'm doing? When I see the two trucks, I'm like, I go back. This is why what the Gen X, because I'm like, we're gonna play Frogger. Can I get how can I figure it out? Like, don't you see
so
it?
True.
Like I'm like, you're waiting for the
Okay, so this will blow your mind. My friend Jen Marlin, her husband Jim, years ago, this is beyond insane. Years ago on I-80, Jim's parents pulled the Chevy Chase Vacation. They went under a truck.
Shut the
They
front
went
door.
under a truck. And they somehow were able to veer out and they were not injured. And
What-
I still can't get over
what
how
kind
how tiny their car
how was their car? Yeah, how were they driving a roller skate? Like,
Can you
can you imagine?
I still can't get over it. And they said they literally realized, oh my gosh, we are under a flatbed. And they were able
Oh,
it just, so I always think of them when I think about how that scene in Vacation with Chevy Chase,
when he
it's
does
not
that.
that far-fetched. Like
Well,
that can happen.
see, like how that all led to, you know, how that he's like, look, kids, a deer, and he flicks the, you know, that's what it, like, this is where it is. Like, I am very much, I have to control my face and my mouth because that would have happened to me, like where the guy would have bumped me because when I pass somebody, if they're going really slow, I do this. I stare. I'm going to let them know, like, because they can tell by my face, like, do you know how slow you're going?
And
Like, I
I'm
stare.
usually in the camp of like, don't look over, just because there's so much road rage, you know,
yeah.
you can really, you know, set off. Okay, Carrie said, being a truck driver's wife, I get past semis as soon as possible. They have lots of blind spots. I
Yeah.
hate when people hang in the left lane, and you're
Yeah,
absolutely
I don't hang
right.
in the
And
left lane.
and I had relatives that were, you know, longtime truckers and had trucking companies and doing dispatch, and it never failed. There were always issues, and it always involved other drivers
Sure. Bring 'em down.
obstructing. Now one crazy story is my uncle, who was an over-the-road trucker for years, said that he went through fog one time in California, and they couldn't like see what was up ahead, but they were going at a normal interstate
Right.
speed, and he ended up going through the middle of like a horrible accident scene where there were cars and
Horrible.
carnage and everything, and just was able to just drive right through the center,
Oh,
being spared. And so that's the other piece that's so crazy, is the domino effect of those interstate crashes. And you
It's
see,
scary.
and why is it always like I-35 and I-80?
it's always because there's nothing else out here. Well, it is 8 o'clock already. Can you believe it? It
Oh
is
my gosh, and
Monday.
I'm still
It is Monday,
running my mouth.
April 20th. Thank you so much for joining us on this Monday. My 4-letter word of the day is done. We are going to be done with anything that drains us and changes us and makes us feel less than. So walk away from all that. Just be done.
And our verse of the day, 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7, for the Spirit God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline. So exercise your authority that's God given to be not just somebody who is a doormat, but who can, as she said, stand up for what's right and really, use that moral and ethical justice that God has given us the ability to exercise.
Yeah, absolutely. Make it a great week. Get your coat before you leave today.
Have
Need
a
it.
great day.
It is going.
The group chat is brought to you by the empowering staff at Middle River Cabinetry, Splendore the Medical Spa, and Azalea Lane Boutique.